Have you ever had a roommate who made your skin crawl? My first year at university started with such an experience. I had just finished unpacking all my stuff into my room, and my family had just left. I was feeling a mix of excitement and nervousness, ready to start this new chapter of my life. Later that same day, my roommate finally arrived. From the very beginning, I knew something was off. He seemed like the most socially inept person I'd ever met. I introduced myself as Dan, sticking out my arm for a handshake. He paused, looked down at my arm as if he didn't understand, then laughed awkwardly and gave me a limp, almost dead fish handshake. It was the strangest interaction I'd ever had. I had to ask him for his name since he didn't even tell me when we shook hands. He was Dale. Trying to make small talk was like pulling teeth. He answered my questions with yes or no, occasionally awkwardly laughing or smiling. Within minutes, we were both just sitting on our beds, on our laptops, not talking to each other. I felt upset and planned on requesting to be placed with a different roommate. Anyone would be better than Dale, I thought. I assumed Dale was just a really awkward kid, but I soon learned he was much more than that. I met some of the other kids on my floor, and they seemed cool, which was a relief. That first night, after exploring the campus and getting to know some people, I returned to my dorm to find Dale still in the same position he was in when I left. It was as if he hadn't moved a muscle. I said, "What's up, Dale?" But he didn't answer, which didn't surprise me. It was 9:30 p.m., and with nothing else to do, I turned out the lamp on my side of the room and went to bed. I didn't actually fall asleep anytime soon, though. Dale was on his laptop until 3 in the morning. When he finally closed his laptop, I quickly fell asleep, but within the hour, I woke up again. The blinds to our room had been opened, and the moonlight now crept into the room, making everything visible, including Dale, who was sitting on the side of his bed, looking directly at me. I sat up, rubbed my eyes, and asked, "Dale, what the hell are you doing?" He whispered back, "Sorry," and lay down. The next morning, I woke up to find that Dale had already gotten up. It felt like it was the first time he had left the room. It was a Saturday, the first Saturday of the year, which meant orientation and all the campus festivities. During orientation, as my group was walking by the school gardens, I overheard a couple of students ahead of me saying, "What is that kid doing in there?" I looked over to see who they were talking about. It was Dale, literally sitting in the dirt behind a patch of bushes, rubbing the bark of a tree with his hand. The orientation leader didn't notice, otherwise, I'm sure she would have said something. I just walked by, not saying anything, eventually telling the two kids I overheard that he was my roommate as a way to start a conversation and maybe make some friends. They apologized for me, and none of us really knew if it was appropriate to laugh or not, but we did. I made friends with those two kids, and we made plans to get together that night. I also learned when I got back to my dorm that the school had found another roommate for me. Things seemed to be turning around quickly for the better. That night, I left the room to meet up with the two kids I met. When I got back, Dale was sitting on the desk chair, facing the door. I said, "Oh, hey, what's up?" He said nothing, very matter-of-factly. I sat down on my bed and opened my laptop, only to realize I had forgotten to lock it. I also noticed that all of my emails had been opened, emails I was pretty sure I hadn't even read. A bunch of my folders had been opened, too. Dale must have snooped through my laptop. When I asked him if he had gone through my laptop, he responded, "No," very loudly, half a second after I finished my question. I could read him like a book. This creepy kid was literally going through my computer when I was out. I knew he did it, but I didn't pursue it. I was ready to go to bed, so as I went into my bed to look for my pajamas, I felt like my clothing had all been moved around as well. I knew I'd be out of there forever by tomorrow, so I didn't say anything. In the middle of the night, I woke up to the sound of a zipper. I sat up and saw Dale on the ground, going through my bag. I turned the lamp on this time and confronted him about it. He played dumb, saying, "I think you have my toothbrush by mistake." It was the closest thing to wits that he'd shown up until that point. Still, I knew he was lying, and I knew something was wrong with him, so I couldn't get physical with him. The next day, I met my new roommate in the same building, and everything went well. Sunday night, after having a decent conversation with my new roommate, who was no social butterfly but was miles better than Dale, we both turned off our lights and went to bed. For the third night in a row, I woke up at some off hour of the night to a strange noise. It was a weird clicking noise. It wasn't consistent, but I'd hear it at least twice every 30 seconds. I got up, hoping to find something innocent like a heavy bag putting pressure on a weak floorboard or even a mouse. But as I scoped out the room, I realized the sound was actually coming from the other side of the door. The night light in the common area was always on, so when I looked through the peephole, I was able to see the scalp of the person standing on the other side of our door. They were looking down, so I couldn't see their face. But now that I was paying attention, I realized the tiny clicking noises were actually coming from the doorknob. I was sure the person was trying to unlock the door. I dialed the number for the campus police department, and they showed up in under 5 minutes. Only then did I feel it was safe to open the door. I found the officers with Dale in cuffs. I had a feeling it was him. I told them everything, that he was my former roommate who had been going through my stuff, so I switched dorms, only to find him trying to break into my new dorm. They took him away. I don't know what happened to him after that, but I never saw him again. He either got suspended for the semester or expelled. I got through the rest of my years at university like anybody else. However, the nightmarish experience I had with Dale still pops up in my head every now and then.